Hi friends! Today we're going to be talking about a pretty awesome saint. She has been through a lot in her life, and this is Saint Rose of Lima. So a little bit about her and about her story. She was born in Lima, Peru in 1586 to Spanish colonists, and when she was born she was given the name Isabel Flores de Olivia. But when she was born, a lot of people looked at her in great beauty. Beauty was really what she was known for. And because of this, she was given the nickname Rose. And as you can tell, that name kind of stuck with her, as we call her Saint Rose today. So that's kind of what she grew up with. Just like how we all have nicknames, she stuck with the nickname of Rose. And as she grew up, this beauty kind of stuck with her. The beauty grew with her. We'll get more into that later. But she was just really known for her beauty. A little bit more about her facts. She became the first canonized saint of the Western Hemisphere and was a Dominican lay tertiary who basically worked during that time to evangelize the Indians. And from really an early age, ever since, I believe since she was like 5 years old, she really wanted to give her life to Christ. She wanted to work as a servant of Christ. Her heart was really giving. She was really a servant to others. She basically wanted to spend her life serving people. And that's really what she did. She spent a lot of her time in prayer and fasting and secrecy, especially because at that time her parents really wanted her to marry. And she would perform secret penances, and she performed daily adoration of the Blessed Sacrament and also took daily communion. And she really had a great devotion to St. Catherine of Siena, which is really cool because that's kind of our patron saint for our church. And similar to St. Catherine of Siena, she even had the invisible stigmata. So that's a little interesting fact that I didn't even know about. And as a young woman, so kind of going back to her beauty and how the beauty grew with her, she started to attract suitors. And on her parents' side, that was a really good thing. They really wanted her to marry. They wanted her to have children and kind of grow a family with another person. But this was a problem for St. Rose. She really wanted to take a vow of chastity, and her parents really didn't agree with that. It caused a lot of fights between them. But she wanted to take the vow of chastity. She wanted to somehow get these men to not find her attractive anymore. So she took hot peppers and put it against her skin to create blisters. As you can tell, that'd be really painful. And she even chopped her hair short just to get these men to basically be scared of her and to run away. And as I mentioned before, her parents kind of opposed her plan to take a vow of chastity. They really wanted her to marry. But after a bunch of fights and kind of arguments in like a peaceful way, because again, she really wanted to be that servant of Christ, and it wouldn't be if she kind of did like an out leash like that. But after kind of these arguments to try to get her parents to understand what she's trying to do, her father eventually relented and gave her a room to herself to pray. And that's exactly what she did. And she took that and ran with it. And it was really said that she only slept around 2 hours a night, just because she wanted to have more time to pray. So I know some of us kind of relate to that, as some people do stay up. I know I stay up till like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning just to pray. And even that to some people is just like a little game. Like, they'll stay up to like really late at night just to pray. And so she kind of relates to that, as she would stay up a lot just to pray and give that time that she could to give back to God. And the times that she wasn't helping out her family and she wasn't helping her prayer life by praying to God, she spent time with orphans and elderly. And going back to that servant heart, she really loved to give back to her community. Just like she loved helping her family, she loved helping in a sense of serving Christ. She really loved to help these people who were in need. And a lot of times she would find herself in hospitals trying to pray with these people and help them get better, or just help them find happiness. Even if it was just for a little bit while she was there. She just loved finding the good in others and just giving these people like the happiness they deserve. And when she was 20, when she turned 20, she was finally permitted to join the Third Order of St. Dominic. And that's where it kind of grew for her. Her prayer life grew. She went into extreme prayer and fasting and penance. And what's really interesting about her is just like how Jesus had the crown of thorns, she was known to wear a just crown of roses around her, and behind that was the spikes of the crown of thorns is kind of what it reminded her of. So she wanted to be close to Jesus like that. And unfortunately, she died at the age of 31 on August 25th, 1617. And according to a legend, she actually accurately predicted the date of her death. Her funeral was a really big event in the area, and all the city's authorities attended. It was just a really big deal just because she did give like so much back to her community, and they wanted to give back to her in the sense of just attending and just being there for her family when she died. And she was recognized as a saint by Pope Clement X, and she was canonized in 1671. So that was pretty soon after she died. So it really just shows how much of a servant of Christ she was. She really gave back to her community, and people did realize that. She was really known for being a servant of Christ, and that's why she became a saint so fast. And her feast day is August 23rd around the world, but in some countries like Peru, they celebrate her on August 30th. It's a huge celebration, and she is the patron saint of embroiderers, gardeners, florists, those who suffered ridicule for their piety, and people who suffer from family problems. So yeah, I really hope you take away from her story the fact that she loved giving back to community, she loved helping the people who were in need, and she just really had such a loving heart. So I really hope you guys take that away from her story, just and know as you go about your day-to-day life that anytime you see someone who's in need, anytime you yourself can help somebody who's having an issue, just to make their day for like 10 to 15 minutes, just like St. Rose did with those orphans and elderly, it really means a lot to people, and it really could change your community in such a positive light. And I really hope you take that away from your story, her story, if you get nothing else. But I also encourage you to look more into her story, as I do encourage you to look into all of these saints' story. You can really learn a lot from these saints and how to live a life of Christ and of love. But yeah, other than that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye!